And welcome to the Building a Retirement Plan That Lasts podcast with your host, Gary Bowman. Gary, it's good to see you. How are you?
I'm doing great. Great. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. And this is for those of you who stumbled across this or perhaps deliberately found it. This is the inaugural episode of Gary's podcast. So, if you're looking for a little bit of background on Gary, who he is, where he comes from, this is the podcast to tune into to get a little bit of backfill if you've been listening maybe to some episodes that are already out there to listen to. And we're going to start with Gary trying to explain to the rest of us, okay, his investment philosophy and what it is, the life experiences that shaped his belief that retirement planning is deeply personal and not transactional. And Gary, I read that really slowly on purpose because I think of finance, I think of transactions, buddy. I just do.
Right.
So what do you mean?
Yeah. I mean, we all do. What I mean by that is, it becomes personal because the decisions we make about our money and about our lives, they obviously deal with finances and they deal with the money, right? So, but when you're dealing with people and helping to build a retirement plan or financial plan, you look at a lot of other angles than just the finances. The finances is the means to create a lifestyle, to create the dream that people want to achieve. So that's kind of where it comes from. It's more of a relationship. My philosophy is building the relationships with the clients and helping them to achieve their goals and to, not be anxious, not be worried about the markets, not be worried about anything other than just living the dream that they want to have.
All right. So in other words, if I can put words into your mouth here, correct me if I'm wrong, it's not a one size fits all kind of approach. Your approach dealing with me and my wife in terms of our finances are going to be different than, say, perhaps another couple that has sat down with you to talk about what they want to do and how they want to build their retirement. Is that correct?
Correct. It's the process is the same, but the outcome is different because everyone has a different plan. Everyone has a different idea of what they want to do, right? So the process is the same, but you customize it then to what your needs are, to what you tell us kind of, this is where I'm thinking I want to travel or I want to become more educated about things I didn't have time to do while I was working. I want to spend more time with my family, things like that. So we get more into the personal side so that building the financial side, that's just kind of the I guess you'd call the hub that then allows you to do all the other things that you want to do. So the money's there. It's kind of the way to achieve the goals, the objectives that we have once we decide to retire.
Yeah. So the money's not the end. The money is a means, as it were.
Absolutely. And people work really hard their whole lives saving that money so they can then start to control their life the way they want. So they're not working for someone else anymore. They're now working for themselves pretty much and their family and building this, have an agenda that works for them that it takes time to do that though. That transition is very difficult.
Yeah. Well, tell me, part of what lies at the core of what you do is that you believe trust and understanding matter more than the performance charts alone. What does that mean? And explain that for us.
Well, trust is super important in understanding the client, the needs that some people have. So you in order to build that trust, you need to gather the right information. You need to be able to discuss their family issues, their health issues, a lot of different things that come into play. So by understanding people better and building a relationship, that trust then goes in and follows into the actual retirement plan, because now we understand each other and we're on the same page. So that building the trust is super important so that when say you're out and you're traveling and you're doing what you want to do with your family, you're not worried about the financial part of it because that's being handled by your advisor, your person
Mhm.
that you've built, but you have to build that trust first, so you're not worried. Like, what are they doing? Is he out there with my money down in Mexico right now? What the heck's going on here?
What's
Right?
happening here with all that money I
Yeah,
saved up and I trusted him with?
yeah,
Yeah, no,
exactly.
no, exactly right. Well, it's interesting because you used to have a couple of offices in Southern California. What has working with long-term savers in California and some clients in Arizona, how's that influenced your perspective on wealth and responsibility?
The way it's changed my perspective is by seeing that being responsible and making the right decisions is is it creates wealth for people. The people I've worked with, and most of the people that I've worked with, have seen they've built their wealth over time. So what my perspective is that working hard, saving, discipline, and living within your means, it's what creates wealth. So it's a time thing. It's not like winning the lottery, or you pick a hot stock or something.
Yeah.
That's not our philosophy. We're like, you worked hard for your money, you saved your whole life, you've lived within your means, you've made good decisions. So the perspective of working with all these people, and most of the people I work with, that's what they are. They're hardworking people that now have earned the right to be able to live off of their assets. And so the perspective is just hard work and discipline, and their building their future. They've been doing that. Now they need help with how to put that together.
Tom, what led you to do this? I mean, what led you to become a financial advisor, Gary? You've mentioned the word responsibility, you've mentioned the word trust. This is a position that does, it does have a lot of responsibilities to it, and it does require that people trust you. What made you think, I got, you know what, that's what I want to do? How did you get here?
Well, it's kind of funny actually. Growing up, I was able to see like my grandparents that didn't have a lot of money, and I think at that, when you're looking at that age, or that era of people, I think a lot of the people like that would just work their whole lives, and there wasn't really a retirement planning industry, if you know
Yeah.
what I mean, right?
No, yeah, no.
So my dad, he had a great job, so he was able to save and pay off all his bills, and he retired at 52. So I watched my grandparents who struggled their whole life, then I see him, and he's a it's just fun to watch that he was able to retire at 52. He's been retired for 38 years now.
Wow.
And yeah, it's kind of interesting story, but this is, you can conjure an image, I think, in people's minds. But I went to see him in Hawaii. He goes there for 3 weeks out of the year, February's. So I
Smart
went there
move.
with my family. Yeah, right. So here's this almost 90-year-old man, right? And he's like, "Hey, we're gonna go to dinner. Follow me in my car." So we get in our car, and he pulls up in a convertible Mustang, and him and his girlfriend, right?
Nice.
So I'm like, that's living the dream. That's retirement planning right there. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So that's those kind of things. That kind of is instilled in me, that seeing that, and for family wise, that my grandparents were seeing them struggle, not having any really retirement or life, and then seeing him living the dream. And then the other part is the clients themselves. Over the last 36 years, I've brought hundreds of people through retirement,
Oh, yeah.
and I I become part of the story because I get to know them, and I do like to sit and get to know them, talk about everything they do. In fact, a lot of our conversations before and after we work together are about other things than finances. You'd be amazed how you kind of go, okay, here's the business stuff. Okay, so how's the family? Any vacations? Have you hit any of your any of those bucket list items you want to do? You want to go to Argentina? Do you want to go to Europe and do things so we talk most of the time about them, their health, what they've been doing. So that's kind of how it transitions. It's exciting to me to see that what people do and how they do it, and I get to help them, and I get to be part of that.
Well, it's interesting because, the last question I had for this particular episode, you sort of answered in the sense of, the question I had is what kind of conversations do you hope this show will open up that most advisors never initiate. You sort of touched on that, but can you give us a little bit fuller explanation or elaborate on that a little more?
Yeah, well, what I'd like the show to do is be able to talk about things that are important to people in the retirement planning phase, not just money. Money's a commodity. The way that we do our business and we invest and we allocate and rebalance. I mean, that's really important. And everyone kind of that in my business that does this for a living, we know how to do that. But do you know how to build relationships? Do you know how to understand people and what their wants and needs are? Do you know how to look out into the future and say, look, we need to make scenarios based on things that may happen, make some assumptions. And so I want this to be a show about how we connect with people and how we are part of their lives, not just they're not a number. In my book, they're not a number. They're a person, they're a human, they're part of my family. We become closer. And because of that, we all get to do better because of it.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people are confused about how to choose a financial advisor. I think it's an intimidating process for them. And I think that a lot of the times they think, oh, I don't know what to do. And if I call so and so, I'm gonna be committed to them. And that's just not the case. It isn't. I mean, you know, people need to understand that they can reach out, they can talk to you, and it doesn't create a commitment on their part. It might create an interest. It might lead to a relationship, but certainly that initial reaching out to you is just exactly that, to see if the two of you can work together, right?
Absolutely. We all identify with different people. So you build relationships in all different parts of your life, right? Some people
Yep.
you agree with and some people you don't. And so around for as long as I have, I've learned that I want to deal with people that like me, that like my philosophy, that agree with it and can come on board. And so I want it to be a connection between both of us. And I think if you're no matter you're talking to me or you're talking to anybody else, make sure that connection's strong and you can feel comfortable opening up and allowing you guys to work collaboratively with the process. If you're feeling intimidated or you don't like they're talking too fast or over your head and it's just like just trying to move you through and just to get the numbers, and then it just should be a little bit more personal in my opinion,
Yeah.
and you should feel comfortable with that.
So if anybody's listening to this, and maybe have never even heard of you, they're just hearing this for the first time, and they are thinking about perhaps giving you a call or reaching out to you, what is the best way for them to do that, Gary?
Well, if they're watching this, I think going to the website, which is bowmanretirementplanning.com, and they can see uh, what we're about. They can then schedule an appointment. They can go on there. We have an SCI, a steady, clear, and intentional uh, is kind of our brand of
Yep.
that's where they can download a form and fill it out to help them kind of get themselves in order, and they can use that. They don't have to contact me. They can pull that down,
Mm.
but then they can also schedule a time with me if they would like to talk, and we'll go from there.
Oh, good. So if you're thinking about it, do it. That's all. My advice to you. The other thing I would advise you to do is, if you are not yet a subscriber, if this is the first time you've listened to Gary, just hit the follow button and become a subscriber. The beauty of that is that whenever Gary drops new episodes, you'll be notified and you can give those a listen as well. I would also ask that if you find the podcast useful, you find it interesting, find it helpful, tell people about it, please. Give it a like, let people know, and turn them on to Gary and what he is doing in terms of building people's retirements. Until next time, I'm Bill Tucker. On behalf of Gary and everybody at Bowman Financial, thank you for taking the time to listen today, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you for listening to Building a Retirement Plan That Lasts. If you enjoyed this episode, click the follow button so you can be notified when new episodes are released. To learn more, visit our website at bowmanretirementplanning.com. The opinions expressed in this program are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual or on any specific security. It is only intended to provide education about the financial industry. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult your financial advisor prior to investing. Any past performance discussed during this program is no guarantee of future results. Any indices referenced for comparison are unmanaged and cannot be invested into directly. As always, please remember investing involves risk and possible loss of principal capital. Please seek advice from a licensed professional. Custom Wealth Management, Inc. is a registered investment advisor. Advisory services are only offered to clients or prospective clients where Custom Wealth Management, Inc. and its representatives are properly licensed or exempt from licensure. No advice may be rendered by Custom Wealth Management, Inc. unless a client service agreement is in place.